Last week, I talked about the lawsuit filed by Alexa Nicholas, a former Nickelodeon star. She is suing Justin Baldoni's attorney Brian Friedman and crisis PR expert Melissa Nathan, claiming they were part of a smear campaign against her. But now, things have taken a strange turn, because it looks like Alexa herself previously criticized and publicly attacked Blake Lively. This situation is becoming more and more messy. Over the weekend, I read a very interesting article in the Times in the UK about a controversial publicist named Judah Engel-Mayer. He openly talked about how much money publicists pay content creators to speak positively about their clients. He claimed that influencers can be paid anywhere between $5,000 and $100,000 for a series of supportive videos. What shocked me most is that he represents some of the most controversial figures in Hollywood, including people accused of very serious crimes. These are clients most publicists refuse to work with. This made me think about the content creators who constantly defend Blake Lively online, even when court documents clearly show otherwise. Many of them don't have big platforms, yet they push the same narrative again and again. It makes you wonder what their motivation really is. We also know that powerful PR figures pressured journalists to change headlines and remove certain quotes so that articles would favor Blake. Traditional media went along with it. So would it really be surprising if similar pressure was placed on online creators? Probably not. On top of that, Blake hired a former CIA official to advise her legal communication strategy. That alone raises questions. Why would someone need that level of expertise just for PR around a lawsuit? We also know that Ryan Reynolds put pressure on agencies and studios to protect his wife's image. Text messages show how far he was willing to go. Another important point is that Blake subpoenaed more than 100 content creators, including me, and found no evidence that anyone was paid to criticize her. Both sides agreed that I never had contact with any party involved. My video was posted independently. We also know that several cast members suddenly unfollowed Justin on the same day, refused to appear with him, and created situations that encouraged public speculation. That kind of coordination doesn't happen by accident. Now let's talk about Alexa again. The Hollywood Reporter recently published a big story about smear campaigns in Hollywood, largely based on her lawsuit. She claims that Brian Friedman and Melissa Nathan created a website to damage her reputation, even though she has no solid evidence. Her case is mostly based on assumptions and parallels she drew from Blake's lawsuit. What the article failed to mention is that Alexa herself publicly criticized Blake during the promotion of It Ends With Us. Her tweet was picked up by major media outlets and turned into headlines. That is exactly the kind of inorganic coverage Blake complains about. So there is a lot of irony here. Brian Friedman responded by saying there is no technical data, no forensic proof, and no factual basis linking his clients to those websites. After more than a year of litigation, there is still no credible evidence. That matters. Smear websites unfortunately do exist, but they are often created by angry fans or personal enemies. Being famous means some people will hate you enough to do extreme things. Suing someone based on feelings rather than proof is dangerous, and it's disappointing when major outlets treat speculation as fact. Now, something similar is happening to me. Recently, a Reddit post claimed that I had been exposed. It listed several points that are either misleading or completely false. For example, it claimed I posted an original interview in 2016, which I never did. It said I deleted videos that never existed. It suggested my viral video was artificially boosted, even though its growth followed a normal pattern and most views came from people reposting it on TikTok. It also accused me of making money by bashing Blake. But I am a journalist. I report on court documents and public records. Reporting is not harassment. And it's ironic that people accusing me of bullying are doing exactly that to me. What's troubling is that hundreds of people accepted these claims without asking for sources. No one asked where this supposed original video was. No one asked for proof. This shows how easily misinformation spreads. The same thing happened to my Wikipedia page last year. It was edited and vandalized constantly for weeks. Someone was clearly working on it full-time. Luckily, other editors stepped in and fixed it. Recordings later suggested that this kind of manipulation was being discussed strategically. The goal wasn't to tell the truth, but to create confusion and shape public opinion. All of this makes the Hollywood Reporter article even more frustrating, because it ignores the lack of evidence and the broader context. When you see these tactics used against you personally, you recognize them more easily elsewhere. Now, I want to talk briefly about something different. Many people have asked me to cover other topics too, so I'm going to try to do that. Recently, there has been backlash over the promotion of the movie Wuthering Heights, starring Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. During the press tour, they were extremely close, very affectionate, and constantly hinted at something more. People call this showmance, when a fake romance is used to promote a film. We've seen this before. It happened with Pamela Anderson and Liam Neeson, Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell, and even Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. It creates buzz, makes people curious, and sells tickets. But this time, many people feel it crossed a line. Margot is married, has a young child, and her husband was producing the film. Yet interviews, photo shoots, and red carpet appearances were designed to suggest romance. They talked about being obsessed with each other, gave matching rings, and shared romantic stories. This makes people uncomfortable. If a male actor with a newborn at home did this, would it be accepted so easily? Probably not. It feels manipulative and unethical to plant these ideas just to sell a movie. In my experience, when studios push these kinds of stories, it often means they're worried about the movie itself. If critics aren't impressed, they try to distract audiences with drama and gossip. Another issue is casting. Margot Robbie is in her mid-30s, yet she plays a character who is supposed to be 16 to 18. Her appearance is very modern, flawless skin, perfect teeth, cosmetic treatments. She looks like someone from today, not from the late 18th century. When you place that face in a historical setting, it breaks the illusion. It becomes hard to believe her suffering, her struggles, her pain, especially when facial expressions are limited. This is not about judging anyone for cosmetic work. It's about whether the performance fits the role. Some directors understand this and ask actors to avoid cosmetic procedures during filming, so their expressions remain natural. Acting sometimes requires sacrifice. If we are supposed to believe a story, the actor has to fully inhabit the character. These days, I personally find it harder to connect with performances where the face cannot move naturally. It creates distance between the audience and the character. I'm not saying anyone should change themselves to please others. Everyone has the right to look however they want. But if you want audiences to believe you in a role, authenticity matters. So overall, what we're seeing in Hollywood right now is a mix of heavy PR, narrative manipulation, fake relationships, online misinformation, and media outlets that sometimes fail to question what they're told. As viewers and readers, we need to think critically, ask for evidence, and not accept claims just because they're repeated often. That's it for today. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.